Okay, let's do this. Hi, everybody. My name is Richard.lesperance. I go by the name of my man Richard. Welcome to A Better Lifestyle. Today I have a special guest. I'm looking forward for that interview. His name is Robert. I don't want to mess up your last name, so can you tell your last name to the people?
Sciglimpaglia.
Oh,
Sciglimpaglia.
okay. He's doing some amazing work. He has an amazing. His career is pretty impressive. Please, please, Robert, tell us a little bit about your journey, your how you got to where you are today.
Sure. Yeah. I'm mainly an attorney. Um, I work in the field of workers' compensation, real estate, entertainment. Um, and about 18 years ago, I got into the voiceover field. So I became a voiceover artist. And about a year after that, I started acting, on camera acting. And I've fortunate enough to work with lots of some bigger names. I wrote a book called Voiceover Legal, and so that's how I learned on the legal side. I learned all about the business side of the acting world and the entertainment world. I started out as a music entertainment attorney, and then when I went out to the other side, the creative side, when I became an actor, I started up. I decided to start a production company. So I've produced about 35 films over the last 7, 8 years. And so I'm a full-fledged producer now. I still practice law. I still act. I still voiceovers. I do a lot of different things. So my life is definitely interesting.
So before I press the record button, I was talking about the business side of the movie industry and the film and TV. How is it from a business uh, on the business side? How is the industry?
Well, I mean, it's a business. So people get involved with the industry sometimes just for full creative, just because they like it and love it, and it's their passion, and they're not interested in making money on it. But I mean, it's a business. So there's ways to go about following your passion and making money at the same time. So that's what the business side is all about. And a lot of the business side deals with a lot of legal issues. So you're dealing with contracts, you're dealing with getting music clearances for films, um, signing releases for your talent, signing distribution contracts for films and TV. So the more a creative knows about the business side, the better off they're going to be, because you really can't avoid it. If you're trying to do this for money, to make money, you really need to understand the business side of show business.
Mm. So if someone wants to go, I'm more gonna focus on that. If someone wants to go on the independent road of that industry, starting from 'cause I have a bunch of things. Starting from from the equipment, the distribution, licensing, you have streaming, marketing, all that. So let's talk about like for the equipment. If someone wants to get started, what are the basic equipments that they have to purchase? I was listening to someone who's a filmmaker. She was saying like even if you're just starting out with one cameras and two lights, you
Right.
can start with that. So talk to us about the equipment.
So, I mean, you can actually use your iPhone today to make films. It really just depends on what you're shooting. If you're going to do a full action film, I wouldn't necessarily advise using an iPhone. But if it's a one location, two actor shoot, an iPhone will work just fine. iPhones you go on 4K, they record in 4K. So that's why it's possible for independent, small guys like us to become producers, filmmakers, because the equipment's so good. So, some people, like, it really comes down to preference. Some people like the DSLR, type cameras, like the Canons. Other people like the Reds. Other like people like the Black Magics. So it really just depends on what you're shooting and what your preference is, and also your price point. So if you want to spend $10,000 for a camera, you're going to get something more powerful than spending $1,000 or $2,000. But any of those on that range is going to work depending on what you're shooting, right? So I usually rely on the knowledge of my director of photography, whoever I hire, as to what camera they want to use, and then I usually rent the camera. I rent whatever unless they have one already. I would go out and rent the one that is right for the particular project that I'm doing. So I've used everything from Black Magics to Reds to Canon 5Ds. I've used all different types of cameras. I own a Panasonic Lumix for my company, that I use for basic corporate type shoots, simple things. And then I have a whole bunch of lights. Like I have different LEDs, and I have the soft side lights. I have at least 20 lights that I could set up. And then the key is your sound. So I've got my shotgun right here, my shotgun mic. I've got Sennheiser Lav mics. I have like four of those. So I think the sound is the key on any shoot, because like I said, you can use a 4K camera and you're going to get a decent picture, but if you have to capture the sound. Like that's the key. If the sound's bad, in my experience, the film, people aren't going to watch it. Like they'll forgive a worse picture, but they're not going to forgive the sound. That's just my personal experience as a filmmaker. So if you're going to spend the money, I would spend the money on getting good sound equipment. And that would go for some kind of handheld. You could use a handheld like H4 to capture the sound if you don't want to get a full-fledged computer and a mixing board. But you can get it, you can just use a computer and get like a 4 or 5 or 4-8 channel board to run everything in to capture sound. So, and then hiring a good sound person, they'll probably have most of the gear that you need, but that's my take of it. So
what about the funding of a project? Let's say we were talking before, let's say someone wanted to start do short film.
Yeah.
And when we talk about short film, what's the length of a short film usually?
Short film generally under 30 minutes is considered a short. It could be, I've done a 2-minute short film before, so it can be really short. But it's usually anywhere from a couple of minutes to 30 minutes for a short.
And how much would you say that costs?
Well, again, it depends on what you're shooting. I mean, I spent like 50 grand on a 30-minute short before, and it was we used Ari cameras and like all the best gear, and we hired a couple of named actors for it. So if it really just depends, every project's different. So if you're going to use named talent versus non-named talent, right there, it's going to usually it's going to save you money. If you're getting named talent that you're going to have to pay a lot of money to, versus some people that are not known but are still good, you're going to save money there. The gear usually comes, a lot of times it comes with the people that you're paying. So like your gear usually comes with your DP and your sound. They usually already have the gear. Some DPs have the lights already, so you don't necessarily need to buy all that stuff, but I have all that stuff already too. So you're not spending a lot of money on renting gear, and that'll save you money for your budget. So the more things you can bring to the table, the less your budget's going to be. So, I mean, theoretically you could make a 30-minute short, 2 actors, 1 location for, a couple of $1,000. So it really just depends on how elaborate you want to go. So, I mean, and then the other thing about once you start to build budgets is try to pick some place that gives you some kind of tax incentives. So then, they're going to give you 20-30% back on what you spend. And then that helps because you can spend more money on the project if you're getting a rebate. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're thinking about budgets and locations.
What about marketing, advertising, and promotion?
Yep. So that's usually all on the independent filmmaker. All the money to spend, you're going to spend for your social media, for your publicist, all that stuff normally is on us because what happens for an independent film, unless there's something exceptional about it, like you have an A-list actor in it, if you're going to give a distributor a contract to distribute your movie, and if they're going to do the P&A, the promotion and advertising and publication and advertising, they're going to charge you for that. So it's going to come out of the profits, right? They may charge some distributors charge $50,000, as an amount that you're giving for an allowance. So if they spend $50,000 on your film to promote it and market it, that's coming out of your pocket. So it really falls on the independent filmmaker to do their marketing, social media campaigns, get the buzz around the film. And so what I try to do, or what I advise clients, is try to get as much marketing and social media as you can do yourself domestically, and then let the distributor market the film foreign, overseas, so they can sell foreign territories. So the distributor can act as a sales agent to try to sell your film over in other territories, and then you're spending money for to them to do that. They're going to charge you for it and take it out of the profits, and then you can take care of the U.S. domestic sales, domestic side of marketing. So
Now, I want to talk about a little bit of ownership. So since you're in the independent, because I was listening to a few things this week there about some actors or people in the industry going independent because of certain reasons.
Mhm.
When we talk about ownership and where how can I say that? Not how does it work, but where does it lead, and what is the benefits of ownership?
So the as a filmmaker, you want to, if you can, own the rights to the script and own the rights. Obviously, after you get the rights to the script, you can produce the film, then you're going to own the film. So if you're hiring people or having a studio that's going to do the project, they're going to take ownership. So you're going to lose ownership. You're going to lose creative control. You're going to lose say about what happens. The project that you sell them or give them in a script form may look completely different when it's finished. So the key to getting the ownership is you can do whatever you want. You can hire whoever you want. You can produce it yourself. You can decide if you wanted to sell the project to somebody else, to another, bigger studio. You can do that. So it's really about controlling. It's kind of like owning a car versus leasing a car. You know what I mean? The lease is up, you give it back. It's not your car. Versus if I own the car, it's mine. I'm going to keep it until as long as I want, and I can sell it. I could crash it into the wall if I want to, right? So with a film, you can bury it. If it doesn't come out well, you bury it on the shelf, right? So you have control. You can hire all the actors of your choice. You can build the budgets. You can get the locations, everything. So once you have that, what they call IP, intellectual property, that's what you'll own. You call the shots. So, and you can acquire it by some people get book rights. So they'll pay for rights to a book to produce it. Or they'll write scripts on their own, or they'll hire a writer and pay them as a work for hire, as an independent contractor, so that they retain the ownership rights. So those are the different ways to create material that where you own them.
So about streaming and all that, we have all the big players out there. Any independent, like small streamings for people who are thinking of going that route, like the independent route? Because we know we have the big names, we all know them, but on the for smaller streaming services, any companies that you know about?
There's thousands of streamers out there. So some of the smaller, more independent ones, not the Netflix or Hulu's that I like, or Tubi. Tubi's very receptive. If it's a horror project, an outlet like Shutter is good. So there are just so many of them. It really just depends on the project, and you may even be able to get one of the bigger ones to pick up the film too. And the other thing too, if you hook up with a distributor, most distributors have contracts with all the big players and even a lot of the smaller players. So it's sometimes it's good just to get a distribution company that's a sales agent to take over your project, and then they can place it for you, get it put up on multiple streamers. So there's many different strategies on how independent filmmakers can be seen, and that's the beauty of today. There's so many outlets that you can just, you don't need to wait around. You can just go raise the money and shoot something and get it out to the public.
So speaking of distribution, we were talking about the streaming. What about the offline when we talk about distribution for independent?
Yeah, so there's still possible. There's still theatrical runs that are done. A lot of films that come out will do a limited run. They'll do like a week in LA or New York so that it gets Oscar eligible before it goes to the streamer. There's still DVD that's still out there. SVOD, so sponsored VOD. Like if it goes onto a platform that plays commercials, that's out there, or just paid VOD, video on demand. Those are still options. Cable TV, that's an option. So they're like everything is there's networks for shorts too. So Shorts TV, and then there's the Shorts network on online. That's a streamer. So there's even a market for short films now to sell them.
Okay. And you were talking before, short films is less than 20 minutes, right?
30.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean 20 is the ideal. Like 15 to 20 is the ideal. That's like kind of the sweet spot. But anywhere under 30 is normally considered a short.
So what about the whole licensing part and all that? Like, how far can from a business standpoint, how far can a film producer or TV could go, like on the business side? I know you have licensing, but how far
licensing in particular, what kind of licensing are you talking about?
Well, I mean, like if they own their shows and whatever, and someone wants to use it for them. So how did that work out?
Yeah, so that's all part of distribution. So when you make a deal, like some foreign territories, for instance, will want to buy you out. So they're gonna pay you a lump, and they're gonna take it. They're gonna buy that territory out forever. The streamers, usually goes through what they call windows. So if it's theatrical, that'll be a certain period of time, and then it may go to DVD or something for a certain period of time, and then it will go, normally it goes like theatrical, TV, streaming, and then DVDs comes out sometime after that. But those are different windows. So you usually have a period of time where you're licensing each of those windows, right? So it really just, if you're going to go direct to a streamer may buy it. They may want it. They may buy you out forever, or they may say, we're going to sign a 5-year deal or something like that. So each deal is different, but it could go from forever, or it could go, for a year or two. It really just depends on on where it's going. Like theatrical is not going to be. That's going to be normally a short run, a few months, and then it's going to go to the next window from there.
But anyways, both ways, the a company can reach out to you like for a deal or something like that. When it
Of
comes
course,
yeah.
of course. I mean, if someone knows of your work and they want to work with you, then they can reach out to you. Um, if if they see a film at a film festival or something, that's a lot of way. A lot of times, that's how filmmakers get their projects sold by putting them in film festivals, and distributor sees it and they make an offer, or you go to one of the markets, like the American Film Market. That's a way that filmmakers get their projects picked up by distributors. Very, very much so. That Berlin, Cannes, that's why it's important to have a sales agent or a distributor at those shows, because then they market and pitch your project to the buyers that can license it or buy it.
So what's your say on because before we press the record button, I was telling you about one of the projects that I have, and I've been listening to a lot of YouTube videos on film and television, and I came across like some film producers or TV producers are embracing YouTube for uh, for doing uh, for doing promotion or whatever what they want to do, like to
Yep.
carry their films or project on YouTube. What's your whole take on that? And what do you see like the future of that? And what's the benefit of that, of going that route?
Yeah, I mean, YouTube is it's not just promoting filmmakers. It promotes really a lot of businesses. So there's many businesses that can do some kind of promo video and um, build up a YouTube channel to get following. So filmmakers definitely do that. Um, YouTube also has a paid side, YouTube Plus, that's streaming. So that if you could that's an outlet for your shorts, your features. You can make a deal with them, like some of the other platforms. Um, but if you're trying to use it for promotional stuff, I wouldn't necessarily put the whole film up on YouTube. But if you're going to do trailers or a couple of clips that are a couple of minutes long, I think that's the best way to promote it without, you don't want to give away the film, because I mean, some people, like I was saying earlier, some people are in this to build up their name, to build up their brand, and they're not really necessarily trying to make money off of that project. So they put the film up on YouTube, which is fine. That's it's fine. But normally, once the film's released on a platform like that, the distributors are not interested in taking it because it's already been out in the public. So if you want to sell a particular film, I wouldn't put that film up on YouTube. Even festivals, sometimes festivals say you can't put, if a film has been up on YouTube or has been on a streamer, you can't put it into the festival. So if you want to make a festival run, you might not want to do that. So that's all part of your marketing strategy. What do you want to do with this particular film, and how do you want to get it out to the public? So each project needs a strategy behind it.
What would be your advice for someone who wants to go that route, being independent?
I say go for it. I mean, so the key to being a successful independent filmmaker is getting content out there. That's not, it's got to be good. It's got to be superior content. If you're putting out bad content, that's got to send the wrong message. So really the key behind it is you want to try to raise funding. You want to try to get investors that back you. So that's really the key, because the more money that you get in, the more projects you can put out, the better quality it's going to be. And, then you're going to get people that are going to want to work with you a lot, right? If you're just doing a bunch of free films, not hiring actors, they're doing it all for free, for experience, and if that's where you are, you're not going to really go very far in the business. So go for it, do your content, but keep in mind that you want to move ahead. Well, unless that's what you want to do, because I know filmmakers that just do that. They have fun and they create projects, and they put them up on YouTube, and that's all they want to do. They don't want to go any further than that, and that's fine. And that's why I love the fact that we have the technology to be able to do that pretty cheaply. But so it really just depends on where you want to land as a filmmaker. If you're okay with kind of doing it as a hobby and getting it up on YouTube, great. But if you want to go beyond that, you have to strategize a little bit to figure out how you want to get those top people to work with you. So you gotta figure out a way to get them to see you and pay attention to you.
Where can people find you on social media or the internet?
You can go to my law site, which is robscigesq.com, or my acting site is Rob Paglia, robpaglia.com. You can find me on Facebook, TikTok. I'm all over Instagram. I'm on every platform pretty much. So
That's good. That's good marketing and branding.
yeah, that's the key.
Yeah.
Be seen. Yep.
All right. Thanks, Robert, for being here. I was looking forward to do that episode, and I still want to talk about more stuff with you in regards to the film and TV industry.
Perfect.
We will have to schedule something else. Thank you for your time. It was nice meeting you.
You too.
Talking to you. Thanks. So thank you, everybody, for taking the time to listen to the podcast. Welcome to A Better Lifestyle. My name is richard.lesperance, and I go by the name of Richard, and I go by the name of my man Richard. And we'll see you on the next episode, everybody. Bye. Thanks, Robert.
Thank you.
No problem.